Great. Hi, everybody. Sorry, you're just gonna have to bear with me while I click around madly for a second, because uh, oh goodness. I'm very sorry, Christine, that you get to watch this, live. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Hi. I'm so good at this. I really like, oh goodness. Um, I actually should say, everyone, by the way, that like I used to do technology for a living.
You wouldn't know.
I know, it's very embarrassing. To be clear, I'm like a hardware person, not a software person, thank God. So at least I have that vague excuse, right? But it's not great.
Morning, everybody.
Option B. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again, by the way.
That's quite right. I thought I'd bring some hope to the rest of you out there that are knitting on the knit along. With this one knitting a jersey in 8 days and the rest of us still plodding along. So I thought, yes, life is normal for the rest of us.
Okay. I mean, you know, I guess that's a good thing that I forgot the shawl that I finished then,
Oh
maybe.
my God.
Earth and Sky is done. And yeah, but, well, I think that the knit along this year is going along swimmingly. We have a lot of people on the Wednesday night group who are quite far. Like, Mary was so close to the hem of that jumper.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there are some quite ambitious projects that still have plenty of time left to get finished.
Yes, because people, you've got through till the 4th of May.
4th of May. It's plenty of time. There's more than 30 days remaining, closer to 40 at the moment. And yeah, you've got heaps of time.
So I was doing a reconnaissance because I feel a little under pressure because I've got to have mine knitted, stitched together, blocked and wearing for the 4th of May. So I've been like a speed demon.
Yeah, you've been racing along.
And I've made yet another mistake, failure. I've finished the back, which I'm really pleased with, of my Kame. Now Kame is spelt Kame.
Perfect.
So this is the back.
Beautiful.
And then I did 2 sleeves and I was packing them up last night to bring this morning so I was organised and realised that one sleeve's longer than the other. And it's more than a design modification. I'm going to have to rip one back. The longer one is the wrong one, so I've discovered. So, and I don't know because it's supposed to be 3rd time a charm. Well, not for me. But then whenever I knit sleeves in anticipation of either finishing the back or doing the front, I always have to re-knit. I'm like a 3-sleeve person. So the moral of the story is continue to knit the sleeves last. But do I listen to that?
No. Okay. So I will tell you all, I knit every jumper in the exact same order. And even though it's monotonous, it works every time. I go back, then I count all of the rows and I write them down because I'm crazy. And then I go front and I don't knit to the lengths and the measurements because once it's blocked, it usually ends up closer to the same. So I knit to the same number of rows. If you've purchased one of my patterns, you'll notice that you have to do that to make the pattern work because I don't tell you where the measurements go. Yeah, that's right. Isn't that just a fun plot twist?
I can't wait.
Yeah, it is really clever. It gets you thinking about your knitting differently. And then, then I knit the sleeves, one at a time. Because 2 at a time, something has always, for me personally, something has always gone wrong.
Right.
I've never been successful knitting sleeves 2 at a time. And I know there are people out there who do knit them 2 at a time, and I respect your fortitude and capacity. But my thing is double the sleeves, double the balls of wool, double the chances to cock it up.
Yeah, true.
That's my
well, I did knit my sleeves 1 at a time, and I don't know why. I was holding it up and I'm thinking, this looks odd and measuring. Yeah, it's not. And then I had to count the rows going by the pattern, and I really don't know where I went wrong. So it's just one of life's mysteries, really. One of knitting's mysteries.
Well, we'll find out. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So Kame is whirring along.
Yes, it is. It's like a speed, and so that's why I sort of knitted 2 sleeves in like just over a week, even though they're small. But you know, there's a bit of work in them. but they've got a really nice design detail that shows up when you stitch it up, and it's slip triple SK slip knit. And so you get this lovely edge down the side that when you join it, because it's also got a garter stitch edge, so you know when you're going to sew it up, you've got somewhere to aim for, so you get a nice straight line. So I'm just excited with the yarn. It's fabulous to use, and it's perfect for spit splicing.
Yeah, I will say that is one of the huge benefits of Brooklyn Tweed is when you knit with it, there are almost no ends to weave in at the end.
No, and some of you may, and I have in the past, done the spit splicing, and you get like a slug on the back, and so you know where you joined it. This, I each time I join a ball, I do it, and then I think, oh yeah, I know where the join is, and before I know it, I'm 2 rows in, and I'm thinking, where's the join? I'm pulling more fresh yarn, and you cannot find it. Really, it's perfect.
It is. I find the same with Shelter overall. Like, this is a cardigan in Shelter. This is Timberline by Jared Flood. And there were almost no ends to weave in. Not that I did that. Because I spit spliced as I went, and I'm so happy with it. And you can't see anything. And the cables or texture hide it even more.
Yeah, well, this is just stocking stitch, and you can't find it.
Yeah.
I've resorted to having to put a little safety pin stitch marker on it, just so I sort of know roughly where it is, but not that I really need to know. But it was just interesting to see how far the ball goes on the garment. But,
now, are you surprised by how much the color changed? So this is something about Brooklyn Tweed yarns, is they are very beautiful in the skein, but sometimes, especially the single color ones like Hayloft, can look a little underwhelming until you get knitting them.
Yes, and it's just got, I don't want to say speckles, because we all know what speckles means in yarn, but it's not. But it's very subtle, and it's just fabulous in all lights. So it
transforms too.
Yeah, so there's a bit of olive, there's a bit of hot orange, which you'd think, really? No. But it's so dispersed through it that it's just going to be fabulous to wear.
Yeah, well, the colors, the Brooklyn Tweed palette is made by dyeing, I think it's 9 shades of wool, and then they're blended together at different ratios. So like Button Jar, the one I'm wearing, and probably Meteorite are the 2 with the most colors. Button Jar has literally everything in it, but from a distance on screen it reads quite green. But up close there's just orange and blue and red and little, even the Hayloft colors inside of this one. Which, in my opinion, makes Button Jar super versatile. And I am wearing it over, I guess, the smuggest sweater in history.
8 days. Really?
8 days. It was a great experience to knit. I am thrilled with the Acadia. I have nothing but good things to say about it. There's been no end in joy knitting with it. It also has a subtle, beautiful, like watercolor effect where even when you're alternating skeins, the fabric is slightly irregular. And at first I was kind of like, ooh, when I first started working with Acadia, but I have to say, it's actually just quite nice. It adds a lot of depth and interest to the fabric, and you don't have to do anything to make it that way. And because of the blend that's in it, you have absolutely no need to hold it double. Like the blend of yarn that it is and the way it's constructed, it almost wears more like you're wearing a warm 4-ply than a DK, but it knits up with DK speed. I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah, because you won't be able to see it on screen, but it does. It's light and dark and medium, and it's
it has a lot of character.
And it's the depth of colour, right? And it's really interesting to look at because it's just not a flat colour. So
it's part of that whole thing. Also, like the color you're wearing and the Button Jar, and honestly the scarf that you have to show off. All of them have this in common, where they're commercially dyed yarns, but I think that commercially dyed yarns have a bad rap. Like, people think of them as quite solid, and I'm going to use a North American term, but like Crayola. Like, they often look like a box of children's pencil crayons in our minds when you think commercially dyed yarn, right? And I think that's still kind of pervasive because we all remember, you know, and sometimes you need them for effects. Like 80s Intarsia, you do need some simple primary colors that are high contrast, essentially. I think that's a fair statement to make. and secondary colors that are really, really easy to work with. And that's not the case anymore with, so I'm just craning my neck to look at all of the color that we've got now that's so different. Like all of the Isair yarns, especially like the Highland you're wearing, Marilyn, even the Tivini, like there's just none that you look at that are a completely flat Crayola shade anymore in this shop. And I think it just makes overall the knitting more engaging and fun.
Well, Christine subscribes to just about every email known to man, and I got one this morning, which I thought was brilliant, and it was from a knitter from Europe, and she said there's a fine line with knitting, crossing between a hobby and a lifestyle, and we've all crossed that line.
Yeah, you're definitely in lifestyle territory and have been for a while.
So it is, and it's sort of, she put down that, you know, you plan trips to work out, can I get something knitted in that time? Where are we going? Can I smuggle my needles in? But I also think it's also looking at the yarn, and suddenly it goes from just being a perfunctory item of clothing to something that you're going to put into your wardrobe. Because I'm a selfish knitter, I very rarely knit for other people. They'll get an accessory, but I don't want to go to a cardigan or a top or a jersey for someone.
Fair.
So you're looking at how you can improve your wardrobe or just make it a bit different, and using some of using the yarns that are here, you get that effect because of the shading and the depth of the colour and just the styles of yarn, really.
Yeah, like the fibers that are going into them. It's such a big difference, this wider fiber variety where the blends are so thoughtful when we have a blended yarn now. And the combination yarns, for like, we talk a lot about Isair and Isair yarns because you can make anything with them. Like there's no end. Every time that you think you've gotten, I don't even think any of us have accepted now. I think we're all just on the road that there's no end to the Isair yarn, it turns out. As soon as you think you've seen it, they turn around and they're like, you know what? Hold these two yarns that make no sense together and knit it on a crazy needle size, either so tiny or so big. If you're like, what the? And it turns out beautifully. And
it does.
It's such a it's more adventurous, the process now. Like,
but I think we've even moved you along, and I think we have to thank Andrea at Knit Night, because she doesn't like wearing wool in summer. Because she's
have to thank Andrea.
Yeah, because she's into cotton and linen, and this one here used to roll his eyes and turn up his nose. We're never stocking that, blah blah blah. But he hasn't succumbed to 100% cotton. But we've got lots of mixtures. So Mercy at 50 cotton, 50 wool, I think is the most we're going to get out of him. But we may be pushing him, and Andrea does such fabulous knits.
She does,
and it's encouraged the rest of us, because the old days of knitting cotton, it was either as like a dishcloth, or you'd wear it once and then have to throw it in the washing machine literally and on the spin to get it shrunk back to the right size. But now you don't.
No.
It's fabulous. And this top that I'm wearing is 80 wool, 20 linen?
Yes, 80 wool, 20 linen.
I keep telling everybody it's 90-10, but it's not. It's 80-20. I finally learned. And it's really gorgeous because, you know, double wool, sleeveless, 80 wool. It's supposed to get to 22 in Christchurch today. It says it's 14 at the moment. I was sitting outside and it's like 7 in the wind.
Wool, silk, and alpaca, and then, you know, worsted weight woolen spun wool. It's not that heavy.
So
I am a little chilly still, though. I'll be honest.
But my core was warm, my arms were freezing.
Right.
But you know, we're inside now and we're out of the wind,
well,
so it's great.
So I think the best way to do this is I'm going to hand this to Christine, and I think that she'll be able to understand enough to grasp what I'm knitting with, and I think that seeing her reaction when I tell her my feelings are on it is going to be worth it. So I'm here to publicly announce that I can be wrong.
Oh my God.
And I say this a lot, and people don't seem to believe me, but I always admit when I'm wrong. After a lot of thought and experimentation, I have ordered some yarn to test that we're going to be stocking on an ongoing basis for all of you. And I'm making one of my new toile designs in it. So this is going to be the toile set and sleeve.
Right.
And I have to say, I'm going to tell you my experience, and then Christine's going to tell you what I'm using. So I really had some interesting experiences knitting this. The cast on portion was certainly a little bit more sticky than what I'm used to, but it wasn't undoable. And I think it's produced a lovely edge.
Gorgeous, yeah.
The weight of the fabric is really pleasant without being too heavy, which is always a risk. And the hand feel, you can tell that it's going to have pilling to it over its life. But I think that's actually part of the appeal of the fabric in this case, which is really interesting to experience. And the color won't be right, but it has just taken the color so beautifully. And this is naturally dyed with indigo.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to say, I think this is going to make a really fantastic year-round layering garment for anybody who wants to work with it. It's a DK weight yarn. It's semi-woolen spun. And Christine, have you figured out what's in it?
Yeah, it's 70% wool, 28% cotton, and 2% recycled fibre.
That's right. So this is Robinson from Durera Natura. It's one of their cotton blend yarns. They have two, Candide and Robinson. And the Candide is a sport weight. We'll be bringing that in the summer. It's going to be really beautiful. I think you guys are going to love it. I have some of that at home to knit with as well. This is the DK weight Robinson, and it's a really fascinating thing to knit with.
Yeah.
It feels really beautiful as you're working. It has a smooth texture to it, and it's not as hand fatiguing as knitting with 100% cotton in a DK weight would be. But it really has a feel, quite curiously, like the fabric bounces and stretches like wool, but it feels like cotton.
Cotton, it does, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, and this is the first time I found that because Luma is also beautiful in a different way, and they're all, this is so wild, they're all so different. Do you know what I mean though? Like all of the wool and plant fiber blends, they're just all so different. You know, I can't get over it. What about you? What are you finding? Like, it's so confusing.
It is because they knit up beautifully. They wear gorgeously, and they don't stretch.
No.
Or get out of shape. So
it is truly a best of both worlds situation with all of these blends. And it's really interesting. I'm sorry, I have to sit a little closer to the camera for a second to read the comments.
And I can't even see the comments.
Show and tell color affection shawl. No, sorry, I have not done a show and tell of my color affection shawl because what I ended up finishing, everybody, was the Earth and Sky shawl. Oh yeah, so Joanna's having the same experience as us with the, oh my goodness, with knitting her Brooklyn tweed, just as I said, seeing all the little bits of color.
Yeah.
And finally, my mom says hi. That's all the comments caught up.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. But yeah, so there we go.
Now, I wouldn't worry about it when Ethan says it could pill because there's little flecks. That's the cotton, isn't all the recycled, and it's white, and I think they're just popping out.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're sitting in a boring meeting or something, you'll be able to just pick them off. It gives you something to do. It's a bit of entertainment.
But it's actually just really beautiful.
Yeah,
like,
it
the
is.
way that they've blended the white and the... So
because when Ethan held it up, I can see what it almost looks teal, but it's actually a beautiful pale denim blue colour. It's gorgeous.
It looks just like, I can't believe this, but it looks just like that Rowan denim yarn. The more that I look at it.
And if it's a DK weight, and what my favourite is, it says needles 4 to 4.5.
Yeah, 4 to 4.5. It's a heavy DK to light worsted, if you will.
Yeah. I'm 250 metres to the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's going to come in at roughly the same price as the other 100 gram yarns from them. So still in that $26 mark.
Yeah, so that's great.
Hi. Oh, it's so nice having everybody popping in. But yes, but yeah, so there we are. I'm here to officially announce that I have finally, after a lot of testing, found one of these yarns that really suits my knitting style.
Right.
Which is definitely...
So you see, we can change his mind. We can get him onto the dark side.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think...
Or the light side.
It's going to be a once in a while thing.
Yeah.
This won't be my regular knitting diet. I will say I am worried that it's not going to be warm enough.
Well, we have to say, I mean, I wanted more summer tops. So Christine, getting the cost per use of the pattern down. This is the second Trigono that I knitted. The first one was in Mercy, which is 50 wool, 50 cotton, which is just fabulous to wear. And then I wanted something to take away at Christmas because I was going up to family. And you can't have a complicated knit when you're supposed to be engaging in a social time of the year. So I'd already knitted this before, so I thought, right, do it again. And it's just straight up and with, you cast off around here with short, with the neckline. And it's got, you may not be able to see, but it's a triangle pattern all over it.
It has a textured triangle pattern.
So it's in stocking stitch and then garter stitch alternating. And you make a mistake because you're chatting or you've had too many vinos. You just get a crochet hook, drop down, pick it all up. Easy peasy to fix. This one I sort of knitted to the pattern, and of course Christine is famous for her winning yarn chicken every single time. And
you play yarn chicken in a way that I think everybody finds stressful.
Yeah, so this was how much I had left over. So
it's a not full single intarsia bobbin's worth of yarn, everybody. We would say a worrying amount. And the rest, she's gleeful, but the rest of us were like,
So I did have to modify the pattern. So it's supposed to have 5 rows around the sleeves, and I hadn't thought, even it was getting a bit fine for Christine, so I've done 3. But so I got it out of 4 balls. But I think if I knit it, and I'd love to knit this again, and do it in another colour, because the shading with this, because the linen comes through as black, it's there's some fabulous colours there, and have it as like a vest for winter. But
either of these would be a great addition to your wardrobe.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking at those.
10S and the 1S, everybody, and they would see how great they look with Christine. Here we are. We're here to help. We love the Maryland. The Maryland, the Mercy. I must admit, it took quite a lot of deep breathing on my part
to order it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge, and I will point out I did have some quite blendy ones as well. Like we had the trio, and I did get the 100% linen, the Antigone.
Oh right, yes, I didn't branch into that, but I think a few of them. Mary on Knit Nights knitted something in there. Yes.
Yeah. And I think it will.
And it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
So a tip is what I would do to make this more for winter is because it's just straight up, literally, is just not sew up the side seam as much. So you've got a bigger arm so that you can put something, a jersey or a polo or something underneath. So it's not going to
even like a slightly heavier merino.
Yeah, or something a bit or a lighter merino, because you've got the
I've never found. I have to say, I love the look of a puffer vest. Like I love the look of a puffer vest. I'm one of those people, like
one
puffer
of those
vest,
people.
Jeans, and a nice pair of hiking boots. That's my idea of weekend attire. Yes, I know I sound like a LL Bean catalog from 1983. I'm not ashamed. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, but
Or you've just come off the ski slopes.
Well, no, I'm always cold in them. My arms do not stay warm. It's like there's like a fluky couple of days a year where I can wear a vest and feel like warm with like a long sleeve knit jumper underneath. And my mother can tell you, and anyone who knows me can tell you, I buy them. I have a lot of these puffer vests, and that's why I've never knit a vest, is because I know that I will only ever wear it with like a cardigan and a dress shirt over top, or a dress shirt underneath and cardigan over top.
Right. Okay. Well, as I was walking around to the shop this morning in the 7-degree wind chill factor, and I'm thinking, well, the New Zealand Police go out and they've got short sleeves on and the really heavy stab-proof vest on. I thought, well, stab-proof vest not, but it's genuine wool, it's not polyester, so I should be warm. And I was, but just freezing arms, so I don't know how they do it. Because Christchurch was great. We had a fabulous weekend, then it was like 32 degrees on Monday.
That was the best part.
And Tuesday was like 13, and may have said 22, but it was 22 degrees at 6 a.m. in the morning, and it just went downhill from there. So it was like, oh my God. So
one of the reasons why I cast this on is because it's been a challenging week weather-wise. And transitional garments
Yeah.
are really, really. So I would consider what you're wearing and kame that you're knitting to both be great year-round and
Yeah.
transitional garments. If you layer them right, as Christine's made clear, you can wear them at any time of year. And if you wear them by themselves, they function over a bigger swath of time. And especially, I do think with the sleeveless sort of vest shapes, when you change the fabric, you get a significantly different outcome. Because you could knit this in loft, for example,
Yes.
and it would be woolly and warmer. Or you could go into Albertine or something, drop a needle size. Anyway, there's lots of options. And the different fabrics, I think I've really come into the joy of re-knitting things. Christine is probably our most prolific re-knitter.
Yeah.
Cost per use of pattern, we're always concerned if we're getting it down. Antarctis must be like
That's
she
free.
should have to pay you now
it's free.
every time
it's
you
like
knit
free.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And here's a good question: will you get a lot of use out of that woven roots scarf?
Oh yes.
Are you gonna,
now.
Will that be your go-to? So you kind of use Antarctis in a really clever way as a great go-to gift giving for women. Is this going to become the?
This could be. Now this is my woven. Get the name right. Woven roots scarf. I've done the narrower one, and it's got an I-cord edge. It's got a simple cable in, then the big cable, and then two smaller ones in the middle. Really nice edge to it. It's got way smaller, I think it's like 3.75 or something on the needle to just do this ribbing to start and end.
It just makes it not flare, which is quite nice.
Yes, and it's just gorgeous. And I read somewhere on one of my 2 million emails I get every week that pale yellow's coming in, and when I was at Knit Night, I saw Gilead's got a gorgeous
I'm
butter
so
colour.
into that yellow, and no one ever buys it, and I try
I'm looking at it thinking, do I really need one of these? And
thinking, a wide one in the yellow.
Yeah.
You could wear it like a stole.
So this is a gift knit, and so the person doesn't know they're getting it, so it'll be a surprise.
What if they're watching this wildly popular knitting podcast?
But it's real. I just used 2 balls of Gilead and I did finish a bit earlier because I didn't want to really play yarn chicken because unpicking cables is a pain. But it's a lovely snuggly scarf. And when I was at Knit Night and looking at that Gilead and that pale yellow, I thought, the butter pale. Is it called pale butter or something? That's one of the colours.
So.
I don't know whether it's for the northern hemisphere, probably for the northern hemisphere, but what the hell it would. It gives a bit of brightness for winter, for your winter dressing.
It does. And it's just one of those like color ranges. I think pale shades like that are often left out.
Yeah, especially in winter. And
yes.
you could use it as an accessory and it just brightens things up.
Yeah.
You know, or use a really bright colour just to shock the natives. And it just gives a bit of a, whenever I do that, you know, you've got in a sea of black and then you wear a really bright scarf or something, everybody sort of goes, oh, that looks really good, Christine. You know?
Both you and Troy do that really well with like minimalist black and white with very, very loud accessories. Occasionally, I do have to say, you are the peach fuzz queen. Which sounds all sorts of inappropriate. Partially it is, partially she just likes the pattern. But that's such a great top for playing with color as well. Like maybe we need to do a peach fuzz knit along this August.
Yeah. Well,
Perhaps
what about Knit Night people? Val, she did a mashup because she didn't like the boat neck.
Fair.
And it looks fabulous.
Yeah.
And so she mashed it up. So, you know, you can
there
do
we
that.
go.
Yeah, just gives you an idea.
Peach fuzz, Agnes. There's a bunch of color block tops we can bring out for this little party. So maybe we'll see you guys for a color blocked knit along. Also, I think it might be we could throw some Intarsia because that is technically color blocking.
Yes.
Into that mess. Perhaps some Susan Duckworth. Perhaps some pared back Susan Duckworth. Like I have a feeling that possibly like one cottage rose could look very attractive in the center of a garment. I'm not so certain about the
all over. Well, some people pull it off really well. I don't. I suddenly look like somebody's grandmother. But you know,
I worry that I might look like a sofa that's come to life.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? Like a chintz suite out of someone's like tea lounge sort of a situation. Like that's never a good look. Oh boy. Although I will say she does have several patterns, including one that I know I shouldn't do, the peacocks. that I'm
Ooh.
still very tempted by. Partially because the bobbins, you don't actually have to bobbin it because the colors are so short that it's just a few
Oh,
meters. So you just measure it out a la calf facet, and then just knit it along, and you don't have to bobbin it.
oh, right.
I know. I was looking at it and I was like,
Oh,
I'm
no,
good at
bobbins.
being-
The bobbins aren't scary. I mean, I got back on. I knitted a top last year that
Mhm.
needed intarsia, and I'm thinking, I started to get the shakes going back to the 1980s. But really, it was quite relaxing. And once I'd worked it out how much I needed to put on the bobbin,
Mhm.
you just did it and had them around. And I mean, probably the worst I had was 4 or 5 bobbins across
Right.
the back. But it was only for a few rows because you interspersed the colour over it, and it was great. Yeah,
Well-
and it was just you just loop it over
Yeah.
and go. And people
I
think
can't-
intarsia is
it's
really
so
complicated. It's not. You
easy.
just put one bobbin over the other and pick it up. So you sort of like it's if you weave in when you're knitting,
Yeah.
you can do intarsia. Okay, it's as easy as that.
Yeah. All right. Well, someone's here to come in.
And don't forget to click and subscribe. You
Yes.
said that the last
Sorry.
time.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. I'm so good at doing it. Thank you so much for being back.
Thank
I
you.
hope we can get at least 2 more out of her before this is over, and then I have to figure out a way to trick someone else on a regular basis.